morning everyone. In this video, we will go through the remaining two theories of design of rolling contact bearing, that is bearing failure and bearing lubrication. So first of all, let us go through the bearing failures. The failure includes two types, that is mode of failure and cause of failure, that you have already learned in MPID and DME. And failure also includes the causes and remedies. It means how it is happened and how can we eliminate this type of failures. So in a rolling contact type of bearing, there are basic two types of bearing failure, or that is breakage of parts like the races, then the cage or any other seal, and the second type is the surface destruction. It means in some of the cases you will find out that the part is completely ruptured, but in many cases you will find out that the surfaces are destructed. So in these two ways we can classify the failures of rolling contact bearing. The fracture in the outer races of the ball bearing, that occurs due to the overload, and when the bearing is misaligned, the load acting on some balls or on the rollers are sharply increased, and they may even crush them. So the failure of the cage is caused due to the centrifugal force acting on the balls. So these are the various causes which will lead to the failure of bearing. That includes the failure of inner and outer races, then the rolling elements, that is either balls or rollers, and it may also cause the failure of the seal or any other component which is used in the design of ball bearing. The complete breakage of the parts of ball bearing, that can be avoided by selecting the correct ball bearing, then second by adjusting the alignment between the axis of the shaft, and third one, the housing and operating, that is within permissible speeds. So if these three things are keep in mind, that is the selection of the correct ball bearing, then the shaft alignment, and the third one, the housing and operating. We know that the failure mostly occurs due to the excessive load, or it may be due to the excessive speed. So if it is within permissible limit, then this type of failures can be eliminated. In general, the bearing of the failure of anti-friction bearing that occurs not due to the breakage of parts, but due to the damage of working surfaces of their parts. And the principal type of surface wear are total four types, that is abrasive wear, corrosive wear, pitting and scoring. So these are the four major type of failure that occurs due to the damage to the working surfaces. So let us go through this one by one. First one is abrasive wear. Abrasive wear generally occurs when the bearing is made to operate in an environment that contaminates with dust, foreign particles, or rust or spatters. This type of failure, this type of particles may be included between the two surfaces when the bearing assembly is open to the atmosphere, or when this type of contaminants are there in the lubrication if it is used. Then if we want to remove this type of failure, then the remedies are that for this type of failure, provision should be provided for the oil seals. Then we can also eliminate this type of failure by increasing the surface hardness, and we can also eliminate this type of failure by using the high viscosity oils. The thick lubricating film that developed by these oils, that allows fine particles to pass without scratching. We have already seen this type of failure because abrasive failure is that also happens in various types of gears, and that is also possible in the sliding contact bearing. So this is the abrasive wear type of failure for rolling contact bearing. Mostly it is because of the contaminants, that is foreign particles, dust, rust or spatters. Second is corrosive wear. The corrosion of the surfaces of bearing parts is caused by the entry of moisture or water in the bearing. It is also caused due to the corrosive elements that is present in the extreme pressure additives that are added in the lubricating oil. These elements attack the surfaces of the bearing, and this results in the fine wear that uniformly distributed over the entire surfaces. Now, remedies against this type of wear are providing a complete enclosure for the bearing, and so that it can be free from the external contaminations, and by selecting the proper additives and replacing the lubricating oil at a regular interval. These are few remedies. If we provide here a complete enclosure, then this is the solution which will provide which will eliminate almost all types of failures. The failures which are related with the surface. So the complete enclosure is very important. If it is done, then you will find out that most of the failures are eliminated in any component, whether it is failure of gear or bearing or shaft, anything. But surface failures are mostly eliminated by this solution, that is complete enclosure. Next is pitting. Now, pitting is the main cause of the failure of anti-frictional bearings, because it is a surface fatigue failure which occurs when the load on the bearing part exceeds the surface endurance strength of the material. As we know that in rolling contact bearing, either you will find out a point contact or a line contact between two contact surfaces. Now, this type of contact will exceed, or it will generate the stress concentration at the contact surfaces. So you will find out that in some of the cases when the load is exceeding the permissible limit, then at the contact surfaces the extreme stress will be generated, and that magnitude of the extreme stress that you can find out with the use of the Hertz contact stresses formula. And also this is possible due to the fatigue loading. In case of fatigue loading, you will find out that the load is varying, and you will have a stress cycle, and for that type of loading we will require the endurance strength. So if the load acting at the contact surface is exceeding the endurance strength of the material, then this type of failure may occur, and in this type of failures the pits will be generated and material will be removed. So the surface endurance strength that can be improved by increasing the surface hardness to eliminate this type of pitting failure. Next type of failure is the scoring. Excessive surface pressure, high surface speed, and inadequate supply of the lubricant that result in breakdown of the lubricating film. So due to this, you will get the direct metal to metal contact, that is a direct contact between the parts of the bearing, that results in the excessive frictional heat, and then overheating may occur. So due to this overheating, a phenomena occurs that is known as the stick-slip phenomenon. It means alternate welding and alternate searing off. Alternate welding and searing off will occur. So that take place rapidly, and it will also generate the high spots. So this type of failure is known as scoring, in which the failure occurs due to direct metal to metal contact because lubricant film will break down, and due to this direct metal to metal contact, after some revolution, frictional heat and overheating will occur. So that will generate the stick slip phenomena. Alternate welding and shearing will take place, and because of that, few high spots will be generated, and this type of phenomena may lead to the surface failure of races. Mostly races will fail due to this in comparison with the rolling elements. Now here the rate of wear is faster. Scoring can be avoided by selecting the parameters such as the surface speed, surface pressure and the flow of lubricant in such a way that the resulting temperature at the contacting surfaces is within permissible limit. So if the temperature at the contacting surfaces is within permissible limit, then we can eliminate this type of failure. So these are the 4 failures of rolling contact bearing with their remedies. Next theory is lubrication of rolling contact bearing. In the previous videos of this chapter, I have explained to you that this is anti-frictional bearing, and even if lubrication is not provided here, then this type of bearing will work. But to eliminate the failures which we learned right before this theory, to eliminate this type of failure, we can also provide the lubrication. So the purpose of the lubrication in this type of bearing is to reduce the friction between poles and races, obviously, and the other objectives are the dissipation of frictional heat that prevents the corrosion, and protection of the bearing from dirt and other foreign particles. So this is the reason why lubrication is provided. There are 2 types of lubricants, that is oil and grease. Now compared with the grease, oil offers the some of the advantages. So let us go through one by one. It is more effective as in carrying the frictional heat, because the oil will flow, so it can take the heat away from the contact surfaces. It feeds more easily into the contact areas of the bearing under the load. Because of the less viscous oil, it will reach to the almost all the corners of the bearing. It is more effective in flushing out dirt, corrosion and foreign particles from the bearing. Obviously, if we go for grease, then grease will remain in its position. It will not change the position, or neither flow will occur for grease. So it is almost impossible for flushing out dirt, corrosion or even foreign particles from the contact surfaces. So in that case, this oil is preferred. Now there are few advantages of grease in comparison with the oil, because when grease is applied or when the bearings are lubricated with the grease, and the design of the bearing housing, it will become very simple. Then the maintenance cost will be very less. Better sealing against rust, and there are less possibility of leakage. Now what will happen in oil is that when oil we are using as a lubricant, then there are chances of insertion of the dirt, corrosion or foreign particles with the oil itself. But if we properly seal the bearing with grease, then there are less possibility that foreign particles are inserted inside the bearing, and also there are less possibility of leakage. There are few guidelines for the selection of lubricant, as it is mentioned here. Total 4 things which we have to remember in selection of rolling contact bearing. First one is the temperature. When the temperature is less than 100 degrees Celsius, grease is suitable. And while the lubricating oil are preferred for the application where the temperature exceeds 100 degrees Celsius. So this is the first thing. Second one, when the product of bore, that is in mm, and speed in terms of RPM is below 2 lakh, then grease is suitable, and for higher values we have to go for lubricating oils. The third point is grease is suitable for low and moderate loads, while the lubricating oils are preferred for heavy duty applications. If there is a central lubrication system which is required for the lubrication of other parts, the same lubricating oil is used for bearings, that is in gearboxes. Now the choice of lubricating oil is necessary for high speed, heavy load application, and while in the remaining majority of applications, grease offers the simplest and cheapest mode of lubrication. So these are few criteria or guidelines for selection of bearing, selection of lubrication in rolling contact bearing. Now let us solve a few numericals related to rolling contact bearing. In rolling contact bearing, again the design data book is required, but today we will solve two numericals that does not require any type of design data book. So in the next video we will go for first how to use design data book, and then we will solve the numericals related to design data book. So let us go through the data. Design a self-aligning ball bearing for a radial load of 7000 Newton. So Fr is given. A thrust load of 2100. So Fa is given. Thrust load is also known as axial load. The desired life of the bearing is 160 mR. mR is million revolutions at 300 RPM. Assume uniform and steady load, so S is equal to 1. The value of X and Y, that is the radial load factor and thrust load factor, is X and Y 0.65 and 3.5 respectively. The outer ring rotates, which we have already assumed in the theory, that in this chapter we will assume that the outer ring is rotating and the inner ring is stationary. So first you have to write down the given data. Radial load 7000, axial load 2100 Newton, then life of the bearing 160 million revolutions, RPM is 300, for steady load S is equal to 1, then X radial load factor 0.65, axial load factor 3.5. Now here V is equal to 1.2. Reason, if what is given here, the outer ring is rotating. So if outer ring is rotating, then V is equal to 1.2. But if outer race is stationary and only inner race is rotating, then V will be equal to 1. So here it is specifically given that the outer race is rotating, so V is equal to 1.2. But suppose in data it is not specified that which race is rotating and which one is stationary, then by default we will go for V is equal to 1, with outer race stationary and inner race rotating. Now this bearing is subjected to radial plus axial load. So first we have to find out the equivalent load. Equation of the equivalent load PE is equal to S for steady load, it is 1, into XVFR plus YFA. we are having all these values XP, FR, Y and A, FA. So let us put the values here and find out the equivalent load. By calculation you will get 12,810 Newton. This one, equivalent load. Now what we have to find out here? Design the ball bearing. So it means we have to find out the dynamic load C. So like we are having the equation, that is the life of the bearing, L is equal to C by P raised to small p. Now this one is a ball bearing. So for ball bearing, this small p is equal to 3. If it is roller bearing, then it will be 10 by 3. So L is 160 million revolutions as it is, equivalent load which we found out in the previous step, and small p is 3. So by calculating this, you will get C is equal to 69,543.38. So this is the simple numerical, only you have to find out is C. Okay. Now in next numerical, here you can see that one table is given and some of the values are already given in data. But suppose it is not given, then these values can be found out with the use of design data book. In first numerical, what we find out? Dynamic load carrying capacity. Now in second numerical, let us first go through the data. It is required to select a ball bearing that is suitable for 50 mm diameter shaft rotating at 1500 rpm. The radial and thrust loads at the bearing are 4500 Newton and 1600 Newton respectively. So FR and FA is given. The value of X and Y factors, that is radial load factor and axial load factor, is 0.56 and 1.2 respectively. Select a proper ball bearing from the following table for rotating life of 22,500 hours. Here life is given in terms of hour. In previous numerical, life was given in terms of million revolution. The inner ring rotates and the service factor is 1. So S is equal to 1. Inner ring is rotating as we have seen here. Here outer ring is rotating. So if inner ring is rotating, V is equal to 1. So first of all, let us write down the given data. Now what we have to find out here? We have to select the bearing out of this one. So for selection of bearing, what is required? The value of C, and to find out the value of C, we are having the same, we will use the same equation which we used in the last numerical. To find out the value of C, what is required? First thing, that is L is required, life in million revolutions, and second, equivalent load is required. We are having life in hour, that is LH or L10H. So first of all, let us write down the given data. Diameter is 50 mm, RPM is 1500 RPM, FR 4500 Newton, axial load 1600 Newton, radial load and axial load factor 0.56 and 1.2 respectively, and for inner race rotating, V is equal to 1. So first of all, let us find out life in million revolution with this equation, that is LH into 60 into n by 10 raised to 6. We are having LH and n, so let us put the value and find out L, that is life in million revolution. By solving this, you will get L is equal to 2025 million revolutions. So we are having L, this one. Next thing, what is required? PE. Equation of equation to find out the equivalent bearing load PE, that is S series factor into XVFR plus YFA. We are having all the values, so let us put the value here, and by solving this you will get 4440 Newton. It means we are having L and PE. So we will use same equation, that is the life of bearing L is equal to C by PE raised to small p. Again roller bearing is given, so P is equal to 3. We are having the value of L and equivalent bearing load, that is PE. So let us put the value of L and PE here, and by calculating this you will get C is equal to 56,172.6 Newton. Now we have to select the bearing according to the value of C. So let us go through the table. In this one we are getting 56,172.6. So in this table it is in between 6210 and 6310, that is the bearing number. But out of this two bearing number, this 61800 is the closest one, and obviously we have to go for the maximum value. If we select this bearing, that is 6210, then the dynamic load carrying capacity is less than what we get from the calculation. So obviously this is not our selection of bearing. So correct bearing number is 6310. Always go for the maximum value, whether it is greater than whatever we are getting analytical. So our final answer, that is selection of bearing with bearing number 6310. This will be our answer, bearing number 6310. Now task of this video, you have to solve same two numericals which we have already solved, and the same two questions we went through, what we went through here. So 4 questions you have to write down and submit on Google Classroom. Hope you have understand all these numericals and theory. Thank you.